Show, and definitely a very interesting one, as I gave you the breakdown earlier before we went into the break. Now, I'm going to be starting the show off with a very phenomenal lady doing something really different. Um, a- Basically, we're going to be talking to Zintle Khobeni, the founder of the Great People of South Africa. And she's going to be giving us insight into how to actually turn people, survivors, GBV survivors, into paralegals. And in spite of many challenges faced by this and most nonprofit organizations, one thought keeps this GBV survivors organization going is once you experience the violence, you think differently about it. It keeps you thinking that there is another me out there that we haven't reached. And I love that motto of theirs because we haven't actually thought about it from that particular angle. And this is where Zintle comes in to actually bridge that particular gap. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Very good morning, Nafisa, and a very good morning to everyone that's listening this morning. Thank you for
Um,
having me.
I should say a warm welcome. I was looking forward to this interview with you this morning,
Yeah,
Zintle. I think definitely a topic that hasn't been touched on and needs to be discussed.
absolutely, definitely. Look, gender-based violence, as President Cyril Ramaphosa has already, acknowledged it as a pandemic in our country. We are in a crisis. The country is bleeding. Women are dying. Children are dying.
Mm,
People living with disabilities are experiencing kinds of violence and are also unable to speak about it due to the stigma that already exists. With
mhm,
living with disability, the LGBTQIA community is under homophobic attacks. We are seeing this in our TVs. We read about it on social media. We are in a crisis, and it is important that we obviously do everything in our power to prevent gender-based violence. But it is also important how we respond to gender-based violence, and that's where
mm,
this paralegal training program comes in that we are facilitating as an organization. Of course, thank you to our funders, the GBVF Fund, Response Fund One, and of
mm,
course, Women's Voice and Leadership South Africa Gender Link.
mm,
So this is the kind of work that we are able to do to ensure that we train people who are already victims and survivors of gender-based violence on how to
mm,
respond to victims because we already have an issue of, a low rate of these crimes of gender-based violence being reported to the police because of the broken trust that already exists between the communities and the police, especially the victims and survivors of gender-based violence, because of the secondary victimization. So it's a whole situation, and it is
mm.
important how we respond. And that's, like I said, where these community-based paralegals come in. So they are trained in order to be able to respond
Mm.
to facilitate prevention programs as well in communities. Because, like I said, the country is burning, the country is
Mm.
bleeding. We are in deep trouble, and we need to do something about it.
I so agree with you there. And as you were saying, and I'm going to reiterate on that, President Cyril Ramaphosa did when he, during lockdown, say that we are facing two pandemics. One of them was, of course, the lockdown and COVID-19. But the other one was, of course, GBV, because I mean, it's really getting rife out there. And instead of it, getting better, it seems to be getting worse. And it's so nice to see that an organization like Great People of South Africa have actually taught about should we say, thought about the ideology of bringing in that idea of educating someone. Because, if you look at a person that, I mean, I come across so many people that have gone through this, and you ask yourself the question, how can you help them? Where do they start? And I think this is a great starting point for them is educating them about their rights and how they can fight their fight, because in many instances you find that they're many of them are in situations, and I see this, I face this time and again with people where they're sitting in the situation and they're just literally taking it because they don't know how to take a stand.
Absolutely, that is very, very true. There is an information gap that exists. It is important that we therefore, teach people. And like I said, it is important that we
Mm,
also focus on those who have walked this path because they then have a much better understanding. If you are a victim of sexual violence, you're most likely to be received by someone who is a survivor or still even a victim of sexual violence. And therefore, they can relate to what you are saying. They will definitely believe you because we also have an issue of victims not coming out to speak out about their experiences of violence and abuse because the society does not believe them. The police don't believe them. So they don't see a need to go out there and speak out and report this crime. We are encouraging
Yes.
people to report, but like I said, we need to create environments. Everybody, all stakeholders need to create an environment where the victims survivors are able to say, my name is Zintle Khobeni, and this is what happened to me, and be believed, so that they can also have some hope that the criminal justice system will obviously play its part in holding the perpetrator accountable. So these community-based paralegals, they are trained on all different types of information that imparted different information, and therefore they're able to respond in a manner of ubuntu to those who come to us.
And I think that's what it's about, because the thing is, it's nice to see that these paralegals are out there, because they actually become these support structures that should we say men and women experience, because as we know, gender-based violence is not just meant only for women. There are men out there that are also going through that particular situation, and it's nice to see that there's a way that you could actually approach these people and get some form of an idea of how to move yourself forward from the type of situation you're in, because there's many women that actually have to go to these particular shelters just to keep themselves alive, and I think that is the sad situation.
Absolutely. And let me just quickly also echo on what you just said. When we speak about gender-based violence, we highlight women and children most of the time, but the listeners must not forget that we also acknowledge the fact that men experience gender-based violence, and we've been lucky, or rather, let me say, we've been able to create a space where men who are experiencing domestic violence come forward and say, Zintle, Annalisa, okanye Suzipiwe, this is the kind of situation I'm in. And we have assisted some men to also apply for protection orders against their spouse because they were experiencing a domestic violence. So community-based paralegals, they are trained on how to receive everybody equally so, and be able to still respond in a very understanding manner to whomever is reporting gender-based violence. So we do not exclude men, or the fact that men do experience gender-based violence. Is just that we speak more about women and children because they are the majority that experience this violence. And at times, this violence is usually perpetrated by a man to them. And it is usually someone that is close to them as well. So gender-based violence, and this says gender-based violence, not woman-based violence. Gender-based violence, all genders are included. And that is why also in our paralegal training program in this season, we have also included men in the training program. And
wow, that's phenomenal. I think Zintle, that's phenomenal, because the thing is, at least we know that there's a balance there being struck here. You kind of gone into the communities and understood the narratives and the dynamics of each community and what is going down. But before we carry on, we're just going to go for a quick break, and then I'll join you again.
Let's pay the bills.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of black seed oil being applied by my nanny. Now I'm using Tib black seed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like Tib black seed. You can find Tib black seed at all leading pharmacies, or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
Approximately 785 million people in this world do not have access to safe, clean water. In developing countries, around 80% of all illnesses are due to contaminated water and poor sanitation. Don't let dirty water end a life. Build a water well in Bangladesh, Malawi, Nepal, Zimbabwe, or here at home in South Africa. Donate to Penny Appeal's Thirst Relief Project. to bring safe, clean water to communities around the world. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Africa, celebrating the great things that they can do, despite the circumstances people find themselves in as far as GBV is concerned, and that's what we're discussing. And 80% of women are survivors of violence, abuse, and rape, and they've been taught to be people are being taught how to be paralegals, so they can advise those that are going through it on how to deal with it. Zintle, welcome back to the show. We were just discussing about the phenomenality, should we say, about having paralegals out there as support structures. But another thing, I think, positive development that you've created was the GBV Response Fund, where they identified Great People of South Africa as one of the 110 higher impact nonprofit organizations across the country to receive a grant from the fund, which I think is absolutely phenomenal, because I think you are starting to take traction and people are understanding the value and essence behind what you are doing.
Definitely. Nafisa, we're very grateful to the GPVF Fund, Response Fund 1. They have assisted our organization in the most incredible way, because there is a lot of work that needs to be done on gender-based violence. Like I said, it is important that we prevent, and the response is actually also important. So financial resources are very, very, very critical. And like I said, we remain eternally grateful to them, and we hope that we can continue having the wonderful relationship that we have with them, because with the support that they've given us, we would definitely not have been able to respond to victims. We would not have been able to refer victims to legal aid, to those who were going through domestic violence and wanted divorce, because some women don't even know what kind of help exists out there for them. So we've been able to programs, and our paralegals, those who are from our first training from last year, have been on the ground responding to these issues. And all of this will not be possible without the support of the GBVF Response Fund 1. I mean, look, we have facilitated court support programs where we have been there from day one with the victims and survivors of gender-based violence, just to help them to be able to navigate through the criminal justice system, which is at times not so kind.
That's true. And of course, let's not forget, many people, I mean, we, come from different backgrounds, and it's having to give them the support structure from a financial point of view as well. Because, as we know, to fight the fight is not easy. If those finances are not available to be able to take a person to court and say, you know what, I need to get a restraining order against you, or this is what I need to do because the GBV issue in our area doesn't seem to stop. So I think it allows you to be able to fight that fight. Unfortunately, we know the cost is not should we say short. It's quite high, and this allows you to be able to reach out to those that are in dire need. And it is indeed a pandemic. So talk to me about what your emotions are like, and what your feel is like about the situation. It's so nice to see that a person like yourself has got involved with doing something as phenomenal as this, because for me, I was actually waiting for something like this, and then when I read your resume the other day, I thought to myself, wow, I think God was listening to my prayers silently.
Oh, oh, oh. Okay. So myself personally,
Mm,
I'm motivated by the fact that I'm a survivor of sexual violence. I have gone
mm,
through sexual violence. I've experienced sexual assault, and therefore, for me, it is the feeling is that we need to be able to create spaces for victims and survivors to be able, firstly, to speak out and
mm,
to be able to, empower themselves with information so that they can be able to fight back. It is a very,
mm,
very, very difficult thing to do, to fight back. It is a very difficult thing to speak out because of the secondary victimization that exists, which myself, I am even currently right now facing a situation of that matter where I am
sure.
being intimidated, where my family
Mm,
is being intimidated simply because I am demanding justice for a crime that was committed against me.
mhm,
So I have 100% personal interest in the work that involves gender-based violence, simply also because I'm studying law, and then of course the information that I am gaining, I want to be able to put back to another Zintle who is out
mm,
there in Kailita, to another Zintle who's out there in Delft, to another Zintle
mhm,
who's out there in Alexandra, in Dispute, in Soweto. I want to be
mm.
able to do that through the organization because, like I spoke about secondary victimization, it is not easy
Mm.
to speak out. It is not easy for me to
Yeah,
speak
of
out.
course not.
I do not even have
Um,
enough information, you know?
I think many people will relate to you and your topic because the thing is, as you say, you're a survivor. And I think that makes you, I'm going to say it in inverted commas, a brand ambassador to the situation. It's not a nice way to put it, but I would say you're the support
Yeah.
structure and a brand ambassador because when people relate to reality stories, and I mean, you're not getting involved just for the sake of it. You've been through it. You're still experiencing it. So I think they appreciate the fact that you're a person that's decided, here it comes. We are now, as women and men who are going through this particular aspect of in our lives, are going to now start taking a stand. But we're going to be start taking the stand in the right way and taking the right path to be able to actually create a better space for ourselves.
Absolutely. Like I said, it is not easy to speak out. There's always going to be a backlash out there because
Mm.
there are people that are unfortunately in our country pro-perpetrator and anti-victim, and that's just the reality of it.
Yes,
So there will
unfortunately.
be victimization, absolutely. There will be some kind of victimization. Some people are victimized online. Some people
Mm.
are victimized through threats. It's a whole
Mm.
situation that is going on in our country. But I want everyone out there to stand up and say, I also want to be counted. I also want to speak out. I also want to speak out, not just for myself, but for another Zinke, like I said, that is sitting somewhere and
Mm.
thinking, hey man, something bad happened to me. Umalume did this to me. My
Mm.
boyfriend did this to me because even your partner can rape you. That's the kind of teachings we're also taking out there to the community so that people understand sexual violence. Because at
Yes.
times even the rapists don't know that they are actually raping. I had
Mm.
a interesting chat with the grade 12 about 3 weeks ago. And
Mm.
speaking about the issue of consent, what is consent? When do I give consent? And when can
Mm.
consent be revoked?
Mhm.
Those kind of situations we need to start, bringing out. These are tough conversations to have, but they need to be had because, like I said, our country is burning, women are dying, children are dying, and we need to
Most
do
definitely.
something. We need to stand up and say something.
Yes.
The culture of bystanderism, standing aside and saying, I'm not getting involved because it's my neighbor's business. Well, it is
All
your
right.
business.
Mm.
Do something.
Cynthia, I actually want to firstly commend you on being able to take that stand and not take this laying down, but also creating, should we say, that space for others to be able to follow in suit and create a better life for themselves through you, via, of course, the great people of South Africa. And we seem to be running out of time. So, just quickly, I want to say thank you so much. And definitely, we take our hats off to you, myself and the Solar Media team, for the amazing work that you've started out there. And by bridging the gap and opening up this particular space that I think is a very serious one. And as you said, I think it's a pandemic on its own, as our president has said. So thank you so much. We wish you nothing but the best going forward. And you definitely have our support as far as this is concerned. And we're hoping to chat to you real soon to see how your journey is panning out as far as this is concerned. Thank you so much, and all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Shukran, Nafisa, and you have a beautiful day. And to everyone who's listening today, thank you so much. Don't forget to speak out. We will believe you.
Thank you so much. You do take care. Have a lovely one. Goodbye.
Bye. Awesome. Bye.
Zintle Khobeni, definitely making a difference in communities, changing that narrative, teaching you how to speak up against gender-based violence, a pandemic that is so going out of rife here in South Africa. So start taking a stand. Do join her, get onto her sites and get involved with the great people of South Africa, making great differences. We'll be back with you in an instant.
Discover the Africa of your dreams.